Matthew chapter 13, the parable of the planter, starting from verse 1. That very day Jesus came forth from the residence and strolled to the lake shore, where he was seated, preparing his lectures. The masses that thronged around Jesus were so vast that he entered a boat and soon settled down, while the multitudes crowded all over the shore. And he instructed them by parables. A planter went forth to plant his seed. And as he planted, some seeds dropped by the roadside, and the birds flying in the air came and consumed them. Some seeds dropped on rocky ground, where there was not much soil, and they sprouted at once, as the soil was shallow. But when the sun arose, they were heated, and lacking good and moist foundation, they shriveled and perished. And some seeds dropped amongst thorny plants, and the thorny plants sprouted with them and choked them to death. The other seeds dropped on favorable soil, sprouted, and produced fruit. Some produced 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. Ending the parable, Jesus said, "Whoever has ears that hear, let him hear." And Jesus' followers approached him, and they asked him, "Why do you employ parables in addressing the masses?" And Jesus replied, "Unto you it has been granted to grasp the mysteries of the divine monarchy of heaven, but unto them it has not been granted. For anyone who has will receive more, so that he will have a plenitude. But anyone who does not have, even the little bit he managed, will be taken away from him." The reason I address them in parables is obvious. Looking, they do not see, and listening, they do not hear, nor do they grasp anything. And thus, the prophecy of Isaiah is accomplished in them. Hearing, the people will hear, but will not grasp. And seeing, the people will see, but will not perceive. For the minds of these people have surely become dull, and they have deafened their ears, and likewise blinded their eyes. Otherwise, their eyes would surely see, their ears would certainly hear, and their minds would definitely grasp, and they will turn around, so that I would liberate them. But how blessed are you! Your eyes see clearly, and your ears hear well. Truly I tell you now, that many envoys of God and pious men long dearly to see what you now see, but did not, and to hear what you now hear, but did not. So hear and understand the parable of the sower. All who hear the word of God's monarchy, but do not grasp it, are like the seeds that dropped by the roadside. Satan comes and removes the word from their minds, that they might not believe and attain salvation. The seeds on the rocky ground are the people who, listening, joyfully embrace the word. But these people are without root, and so Believe only for a period of time, but when temptation or trial comes, they drop. They drop out. The seeds that dropped among thorny plants are the people who, having listened, proceed and are choked with desires, affluence, and the delights of the world, thus bringing no fruit to success. But the seeds that dropped on the favorable soil are the people who, when they have heard the divine word with a broad, candid, and noble mind, grasp and preserve it, producing abundant fruit, some 100-fold, others 60, some 30, and so on. And Jesus taught the people another parable. The monarchy of heaven is like a person who planted good seed in his field. One night, when the people slept, his foe came to the farm and planted tares everywhere to choke the wheat, and then went away. Now, as the plant sprouted and developed, the weeds also appeared and were flourishing. And so the farm workers came to the owner and told him, "Master, you planted good seed on your land. So where have evil tares come from?" And the owner told his workers, "Surely some enemy has done this terrible mischief." And the workers asked him, "Do you want us to go to the farm now and remove the tares?" The owner said, "No. For as you remove the tares, you might unintentionally damage some wheat. So let the good wheat and the evil weeds all grow together until the season of harvest comes. And then I will instruct the reapers to gather the tares first, strap them in bundles to be consumed by the flames, and then gather the wheat carefully for storage in my barn." And Jesus taught the people another parable. The monarchy of heaven is like a tiny mustard seed. A man takes the seed and plants it in his garden. Of all seeds, the mustard seed is the tiniest, but when it develops, it is the largest of all vegetation. It sprouts and becomes a great tree, and the birds of the air fly to its branches and nest on them. And Jesus instructed the people yet another parable. The monarchy of heaven is like fresh yeast. A woman takes the yeast and kneads it thoroughly with about 40 liters of flour until the entire dough is risen. Jesus employed parables to teach the masses all these things. He hardly taught the people without employing a parable, that the word might be accomplished which was uttered by God's special envoy. "I will employ parables when I address the people, and I will inform them of secrets hidden since the beginning of the world." Afterwards, Jesus left the assembly and entered the residence. Then his followers approached him and said, "Please instruct us regarding the interpretation of the parable of the tares of the field." And Jesus replied and told them, "The farmer who planted the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is this world. The good seeds are the offspring of God's monarchy, but the tares are the offspring of the cruel one. The foe who planted the tares is the devil. The harvest is the conclusion of the present age, and the reapers are God's angels. Precisely as the tares are collected and destroyed in the fire, so it will be at the conclusion of the present age. The Son of Man will dispatch his angels to round up in his monarchy all who mislead the people into evil ways, and every evil doer. And they will be dumped in the blazing furnace. There will be loud wailing and grinding of teeth. then the devout people of God will glitter brilliantly like the sun in the monarchy of their Heavenly Father. Whoever has ears that hear, let him hear. Once more, the monarchy of heaven is like a concealed treasure which a man discovers in a field. Without delay, he hides it again. And for sheer happiness over his discovery, he proceeds and sells everything he has and ultimately returns and buys that field. Once more, the monarchy of heaven is like a merchant searching for attractive gems of great value. And when the merchant discovers a very fascinating, expensive, rare gem, he proceeds and sells everything he has and ultimately buys that gem. Once more, the monarchy of heaven is like a fishing net thrown into the lake by fishermen to gather all sorts of fishes. And when the net is loaded, they pull it ashore. Then they sit down and separate the fishes. The good fishes are gathered into their receptacles, while the bad are dumped in the waste. This is precisely how it will be at the conclusion of the present age. God's angels will proceed and separate evildoers from among the righteous and dump them into the blazing furnace, and there will be loud wailing and grinding of teeth. Jesus asked them, "Have you thoroughly grasped these matters?" And they replied him, "Yes, Master." And Jesus told them, this implies, sure enough, that every authority of the law instructed regarding the monarchy of heaven is like the owner of a home who carries new and old valuables out of his treasure. As events happened, Jesus concluded these parables and left that place. And he returned to his hometown. He lectured in the synagogue, and all who listened to him were astonished and asked, "Where did this man obtain such wisdom and these wonderful works? Is this not the offspring of the carpenter? Is not his mother Mary? And are James and Joseph, Simon and Judas not his brothers? Are all his sisters not dwelling in this place? Just where did this man receive all these?" And so they denied and despised Jesus. And Jesus told them, "A prophet is acclaimed and honored everywhere except in his own homeland and by his own family." And because the people were infidels, Jesus did not perform many wonderful signs there.